It's a pleasure to be here at this Adams High School, and this is really a cool concept from the standpoint of how these schools are put together, and the good that's going to come out of this type of a focus, not just for you, but for the community and the city that we live here, and you know, focusing on those core subjects of science and technology and engineering and math, having the innovative instructors that they have here, Dr. Burns. It is going to give all of you an opportunity to do things in your life that you might not thought you would ever do before, but having that background is and having the opportunity to just not dream some dreams, but make those dreams become a reality it's pretty fascinating to me, and the future that you all have is kind of the dream that we've got for all the students in the state of Texas, regardless of where you go to school, and or for that matter what they decide to study. Our state's future depends on giving all of you every chance that we can to succeed. And you know, for most students that materializes right in the classroom, and your interaction with these committed teachers that you have, and you know, you go about the business of learning and preparing for the future, and that's kind of where it all happens. That's where the connections are made, and the breakthroughs happen, and you know, somewhere in your life you're going to have this eureka moment that you realize, this is what I really want to do. This is what has my attention. This is where my passion is. And you know, some of you are going to go in that field of science. You're going to end up being researchers or doctors, or you know, Lord knows what, from the standpoint of the science that is being tweaked right here in this Adams classroom. And it's one of the reasons Robert and I talk about that the classroom is really where you have to focus the resources, focus the investment, if you will, utilize in a way that the teachers and the local officials and their involvement consider the best way to teach you, and frankly, dedicating less money to other functions is an important part of the prioritization that goes on. You know, we have limited amounts of dollars, so keeping as much in the classroom as we can. And it's actually the reason I came out here today is to talk about a new initiative that we're laying out, and to reward Texas school districts that save money by partnering with other entities, sharing some of the tasks or those associated resources. And it's these functions, you know, whether it's payroll or accounting or human resources, purchasing, that can be performed by, well, let's say over multiple districts. You know, where I came from, Paint Creek was an independent school district, Haskell was an independent school district, and those two schools could overlap on the accounting side, or maybe in some of the other places save some money, and ideal opportunity for cost savings. Region 17 is a great example. Around Lubbock, they've got rural districts where they were sharing payroll and accounting duties, and they saved between 50 and 80% of what they've been paying each year. So under this school savings incentive program that I'm going to have Robert come up here in just a second and share a few words about it as well, but I'm proposing that Texas encourage voluntary participation in such partnership by offering a financial incentive. Not only lets the districts keep the funds that they save, but also offers them a one-time award for from the state equivalent to 10% of whatever the savings is. So if you saved $30,000 on an accountant, not only are you going to get to keep $30,000 you saved on the accountant by partnering with somebody, but you're also going to get a 10% award from the state, which in that case would be $3,000. So, and again, I make it very clear, it's a voluntary program, but I suspect it'll be tough for local districts to pass that up, an opportunity to save some money and to get a reward. I firmly believe that money saved and the state's investment will be dedicated to further educational opportunities, building on the efforts that we've seen in the past and continue on that progress. You know, I tell people on a regular basis that, you know, Texas continues to be one of those states that make progress in its public schools. You look at our latest performance with the ACT test, review the progress that we made in a number of other areas, and Texas is headed in the right direction. For example, Texas is recognized as one of only 4 states that has helped close the achievement gap in math. On the advanced placement test, student participation is up by 170%. 140% improvement in the passing rate on that test. One of the highest overall participation number of students that are taking the SATs in the state of Texas. The percentage of first generation college students taking that exam is higher than the national average. So we're getting a lot of people who are focusing their efforts on taking those exams to allow them to go to the next level in their education. The number of Hispanics, for instance, who have taken the SAT has grown by 105% since 1999. So one of the things that we're trying to do is come up with some ideas to kind of keep us on track. And for instance, virtual high school is a concept that we came up with. It helps leverage the existing virtual school network that we put in place in, I think, '07, and keep students on track to graduation. You know, from time to time, for whatever reason, and I'm not making a judgment call here, I'm just saying, you know, from time to time, a student will drop out of high school. You know, they get to be 16, they get a driver's license, man, I'm gonna go conquer the world. Drop out of high school, and a couple years later they go, oh dude, that was not a good decision. And so they're caught in this position of, how do I get back into school? You know, I've got a job, I got a family now. So how do I get back into getting either that diploma or that GED? And they've got an employer who's looking at, well, look, you know, give that employer incentive to also help them take the time off to get back in, to get on track, to get their diploma. And that was where Robert and I were talking. We said, well, let's give a tax incentive to the businesses out there that have students that want to get back in, either a virtual school or a bricks and mortar school where they can take the time off to go back and get their diploma or their GED. Give $1,500 a year credit to sales tax credit to those businesses that let those students get back in. So it's an incentive for both sides. They get back and get one of the most important things they can get their hands on, which is that high school diploma or their GED. Plus, the business is not only helping get that employee to a higher level of education, but also a $1,500 incentive to allow them to go back to school. Keeping students focused is, I guess, probably one of the great challenges that we have. And this program, this ADAM program, is a great way to give students the focus and the incentive, if you will. And doubling the number of these STEM academies is one of the things, again, that I'd ask Robert to consider, and I hope the legislature will think it's important enough for us to double the number of academies. We've got 51 of them right now, and I'd like to see that number doubled. The You Teach program, where we go in and recruit students like you when you're seniors in high schools, and go into the You Teach program into our universities, so that your commitment to come back out and go into the teaching of engineering and math would be it's a very popular program that's working. Last week how many of you have an iPod or a iTunes compatible device? Yeah. I'm surprised if there's one hand that doesn't come up. Me too. So, we created a program this last week called Texas Education on iTunes U, where some of the most innovative teachers in the state are going to be putting their content on iTunes so that we can download it and put that content, whether it's on an iPad or an iPod or what have you, or for that matter, a BlackBerry, and have that content available. We've got different museums and a lot of state agencies with some content, and being able to put it in one place where the teachers in particular can access it and you all can access it. So you got a great teacher somewhere that teaches a concept that is really difficult to teach, but they have broken the code. And being able to put that content where people all across the state of Texas have the opportunity to do it. We think that's the type of innovative approach that is not only going to keep you guys kind of intrigued and focused and what have you, but the education agency is really starting to look at a lot of those types of expansions.